Hello, Eli. Whee.
Thank you for joining me on this lovely, lovely day, Wednesday, the 7th of June. You are the 9th in the series of the 45 speakers, 45 minutes, 45 interviews, 45 days. Thank you very much. I am working with the number 9 at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously, you were down with Mantak and me.
Yeah.
In Glastonbury with the Dantien and the number 9.
Yes.
So there we go. So I'd just like to say, could you give us a little bit of a intro as to who you are for all the lovely viewers out there, and what you do?
You've frozen.
You froze.
That was absolutely hilarious.
I know. It was
Carry
a great
on,
freeze.
because it was like the best photo ever of you two. It was just
Yeah.
Right.
smiling. So for all those people who missed that little introduction, could you please give us a little bit of info about what you do? Because you are the lovely Bards of Avalon.
Correct.
God, you keep freezing.
No.
Frozen again.
No, he's frozen.
Oh,
no,
no, he's
no,
not.
no, he's not.
He's pretending to freeze. Oh, God. Better just say something.
Sorry, I shouldn't play around, should I? Children, stop it.
Yes.
You at the back.
Right. Right. Do you want to say something?
Go on then. So, obviously, I've known you quite a while now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I first met you. Well, actually, I didn't meet you. I heard you.
Right.
I don't know whether you know this story, but I was at Glastonbury tour, and we were doing a lovely ceremony. A few people down there, and we closed our eyes, and everyone was sounding, and I could hear the most incredible, angelic, beautiful, lovely resonance from the other side of the circle. And I was like, "Who are those people? They're from another world." And I opened my eyes, and there was these two gorgeous people, all dressed really colourfully, levitating about 4 feet above the ground.
That's it.
And that was you. And I was just like, I can't believe it. Who are they? What are they doing? You just appeared, sang amazing, beautiful sounds, and then poof, you were gone. And I didn't find out who you were for months and months afterwards. But as soon as I met you, I was like, there's those amazing wispy characters who came in, did the magic, and then left again. So for our lovely viewers, could you just give us a little bit of a rounded introduction as to who you are?
Okay, so this is David.
And this is B.
And together we are Bards of Avalon. So we met, well, the first day we met, we started singing together at Stonehenge, as you do. So that was our first meeting together. And we've actually been doing sound together ever since. But in 2010, we decided to, well, it wasn't decided, there's the universe decided that actually we should give up our former lives and dedicate our lives totally to making sound and sharing our sounds with everybody. And so basically what we're about, we're trying to uplift people, inspire people, with the sound, relax. The transformations we've seen in people's lives after they've heard some of the sounds that come through us are quite extraordinary. And we're here basically, a lot of the other presenters in the Shine seminars, we're trying to build this new earth. We are building this new earth.
Yeah. And
we are creating it with sound. So that's it.
That is absolutely amazing. The universe is sound, right?
Absolutely.
That's right, vibration. Yeah.
Really is. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm very grateful for you coming to Shine Seminars. And as I remember, you were at the first one.
We were. At the Paintworks.
Yeah, which was an interesting atmosphere because nobody really knew what was going on. And you came on and gave your talk and did some sounding, and I was absolutely blown away. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I think actually you are the most regular at Shine seminars, are you not?
I think so. Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Actually, I really.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's my hobby. No, I think you're absolutely right about you are singing into the new earth, aren't you? You're kind of moving forward and singing. And you know, one of the things that I love about the Shine seminars is it's all about the healing, but also it is about the frequency raising. And you do that on so many different levels. You know, it is absolutely fantastic what you're doing. So have you got anything that you'd like to share with us at the moment? Are you doing anything? Are you what's on your mind, guys?
That sounds like Facebook, doesn't it? What's on your mind?
No, are you doing any events or anything at the moment?
Oh, Shine seminars.
Yeah. Are you?
No, we have. So what we're doing is we're doing a mixture of events. So our next event is we're going to be doing an online summer solstice celebration, and we are co-creating with two of our dear friends, Dan and Antique. They have this magnificent handcrafted drum. It's so beautiful. It sounds like when you hear it, actually, we'll have to get them along sometime to one of the Sunshine seminars, because when you hear it, it sounds like Mother Earth's heartbeat. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, we've been regularly doing online sound journeys, and people have been loving it. So that's one of the main things. We're also we got so many things. It's just
let me say, when is your solstice?
It's on the solstice day.
So 21st.
Yeah, and we will be going Harmony Day. We'll be joining Rory Duff the day before at Oliver's Castle again, which is absolutely beautiful.
And you know, we've got our shout out for the 22nd as well.
I know, in Glastonbury. We will have to see how we do.
You're gonna, well, it's a hat trick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be in threes.
It's got to be in threes.
You know these threes, they add up to 9.
Yeah, they do. 3 threes and 9. Well, if you do make it on the 22nd, it will be magical. And it will be in exactly the same place that I met you last time. The very first.
Oh, right in the meadow, down at the bottom.
Yeah, you know, there's a ring of trees there now.
I know, it's extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah.
What happened there?
I don't know the story behind it, but it was really interesting because when we were with Mantak recently, we went up to do the early morning Qigong, and it's one of those ethereal Avalon days where the mists have actually totally descended. You couldn't see the tower at all.
No, not even from about 50 feet. You couldn't see the tower. It was amazing. But as we went through the exercises and everything, and we were doing the class, the light started to come through, and we did do partly like a sun salute type thing, and the sun came through for a little bit of that. The energy up there was really good.
So, but when we came down, then we saw the circle of trees that you're talking about. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Definitely. So the Mantak week that we did, the 5 days, that was pretty special, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and we come back absolutely buzzing and more committed. So we've been pretty good actually. We've been doing Qigong practice every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what's on our mind at the moment is trying to keep our physical vehicles as clear as we possibly can to try and anchor these frequencies that are coming in. And of course it's not just physical, it works on a number of other levels as well. But you know, it's quite interesting. We've been touching base with a few people we haven't seen for a while, and it's just interesting just to observe just how many people have been struggling. And you know, we're sort of looking at this and just sort of saying, well, how can you actually move past the struggle? And sound can be a really good way in terms of acknowledging where you are, but also letting that go, and raising the frequency. I remember we met AJ Roberts recently, and he's just amazing guy, absolutely fantastic. And he just asks the audience, you know, what's your superpower? And I, as quick as a flash, said, joy. Joy is my superpower. And it doesn't mean to say that we don't have challenges, because we do. But the thing is, we are here to bring joy. We are here to raise the frequency, raise the vibration. So, and that's an important part of this anchoring of these new earth frequencies.
And when you see people, or when we stay with people, or even spend a short time with people, they do start to feel that joy themselves, and it's really lovely to see the shift in people. We've seen people that have been really quite negative, and once we've had a day with them, they feel completely different. They can't really put their finger on it, but I think it's just we just sort of exude this really lightness, and so yeah, it really helps people to snap out of this like stuck energy that people are stuck in. And it's also like, you know, if you can relieve pain with people as well, then they just feel so much better. Yeah, it's been really good lately that we've been able to help a lot of people, and it can be on any level. Even just talking to people in shops and things like that has been quite extraordinary. Even when things go wrong, we went for a birthday meal with literally only yesterday, and they messed up by giving our meal to another couple, and so they came and apologized after about a 40-minute wait for the main course to arrive, and said we gave it to somebody else, and so we sort of thought, oh God, like we were supposed to be going somewhere else next, and everything seemed to be messed up. But we just started like laughing and saying, well, you know, these things happen or whatever. They gave us free drinks, and then they ended up giving us like a taxi service to get to the place we had to go to next, and everything, and it was just so much fun, and they were just sort of
and our taxi driver was called Zen.
Yeah, we had a Zen taxi driver.
You know,
that was his avatar name.
Yeah. You know,
that was just for you.
Yeah, no, you can't make it up, can you?
No, somebody said to me the other day, if you're not having fun, you're not in the game.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel at the moment.
Yeah.
I in my car, I'm playing my music really loud.
Yeah.
And I'm singing, and just generally, I've got a little iPad in the hall upstairs that's playing music, and I'm really using sound and music a lot at the moment. Just to, I mean, I always have in my whole life actually, but use sound. But I just feel at the moment it really does take you to another level, and it's a really easy way, isn't it? It's a really easy thing to do, to just get some music, sound, singing. I'm sure you guys. I'd love to hear you both in the shower at some time. You sing really well in the shower, don't you? I bet it's like, I don't know, Richard Clayderman or something.
Oh no!
I'm joking. I am joking. But no, it's interesting because at the Shine Seminar special that you kindly did for me as a joint thing in the Langton. What you were saying, David, about shining your light and making, bringing joy. At the end, it was amazing because people didn't want to leave, did they?
No.
It was really beautiful. Everybody had gone through this whole process.
Yeah.
And they felt, cleansed, purified.
Yeah.
They cleansed some stuff. They built some stuff up. They got some energy, and everybody was just sat around in that lovely space at the end. It was really magical what you created that day, and I see it in you guys all the time.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting us, and I've got some more feedback about that actually, because we received an email from one of the participants at the Langton only yesterday, and he said he was so inspired. He felt it was so profound. experiencing this bathing in sound, that he's going to study now to be a sound practitioner.
Wow.
And you know, we found this a lot, and this is fantastic. This is, you know, one of the things that we're trying to do is encourage people, you know, whether they just are singing in the shower, like you say, or just toning through chakras. They can do so much stuff for themselves, or whether you want to take it a bit more professionally. But the amount of people that have been through our sound journeys and then have gone on in their own right to become sound healing practitioners, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
it's fantastic what you do, and you know, every sound bath you do. What do you term it? Is it a sound bath? Is that what you actually?
Yeah, I mean, sound bath or sound journey.
Sound
journey.
Because you do integration, don't you? You do, you know, you use different. You use bowls, and you use your voices, and you use chimes, and it's a lovely, you know, sort of range of things that you use. Can I ask you? Do you ever? Is it literally just on the day, in the moment? Whatever comes through you do, or do you have little bits that you bring in that you know will do?
Yeah, there's a, when we do anything online, there's a basic format, so we got an idea of what we're going to be doing. Although we have to work, the whole point of this is to work with the energies of the day, the energies of the group, because the guidance comes to us, especially to me, I should say, of what we really need to focus on for those people. And a lot of the brilliant thing with sound is you don't need to know what the problem is physically. We don't really need to know. The guidance comes to us anyway, and then we can help them to clear what the issues are. And it's a bit like what I was thinking about when we were at the Langton. Somebody came up to me at the end, and he said he's been dealing with some really major issues, and he'd been gone to therapy probably for about 10 years, and he really felt like he wasn't really getting there. And he said that one sound session that we did was a complete breakthrough. And he said that it completely cleared what he'd been trying to clear for 10 years. And when you get feedback like that, you just really realize that this is a very important thing that we're doing. And but you know, it's like B said, we're inspiring other people to do it as well.
I think what's really important that we haven't really talked about is intention. So, and one thing that one of my teachers, Jonathan Goldman, said, you know, sound plus intention equals healing and manifestation. And we have found this time and time again. And it's really interesting that, you know, we could be having a really bad day or lots of challenges. It just seems like people are being really narky or you know, whatever. And David, in a previous incarnation, had to do some really not very pleasant tasks at all, where he had to deal with some very tricky customers indeed. And yet, you know, he could chant a few mantras before going into that situation. And he would find that people that would probably want to do all sorts of nasty things to him would actually shake his hand and thank him. You know, it's unbelievable.
It was virtually shocking, because they used to tell me, people would tell me, they would say, well, anybody that would come to my door and you know, be doing anything official, they would either slam the door in their face or give them quite a bit of abuse first and then slam the door in their face. And I'm stood in his lounge talking to him while he's saying that. And he said that he's completely ignored authority all his life. And he said, you know, they just lock me up now and again, was his answer. Because I said, well, you know, how do you deal with things and stuff? And he said, well, when I've done so many bad things, he said, they just lock me up. He said, but it's a, you know, it's a cumulative process, like, you know. And he was so nice to me. And I said, well, why have you got me in your house, and why are you treating me like this? And he said, you're not like that. He said, you're different. and I got that reaction from so many people.
Yeah.
It was really strange, and people would tell me stuff that they won't even tell their own family, and I just couldn't understand what it was. And what I was doing was I was playing. In those days it was a cassette tape, and I was playing a cassette tape of mantras, and the mantras were really powerful, and literally they would cut through anything. And the way I sort of see it later on, it was almost like you were putting this armor on that completely like blocks anybody's like fight issue with you. It was like all they could feel was the love.
Yeah.
So they couldn't actually they couldn't attack you. They just didn't want to. Yeah.
Possible.
It was but it was only I did notice when I didn't do the mantras that on occasion somebody, would really have a go at me, and I would think, what's going on? This doesn't happen to me. And then it dawned on me I hadn't played played the mantras, and I thought, go and play the mantras now. And then everybody else, the rest of the day was all perfect, and it was astounding really to see that, because everybody I worked with who did the same job as me, they would get stuff thrown at them. People would chuck a brick at them, all sorts. Every Friday we'd meet up and we'd have a drink in the pub at lunchtime, and they'd all go through all the horrible things that had happened in that week, and they'd look at me and I'd say, well, it
does. It does work on a cellular level, doesn't it? Like, it really, really does. I think that's one of the messages that's coming through, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you're showing people and letting people experience.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing, and I think that with sound, we've trained in a number of different alternative, complementary, or as Darren Diogi would say, natural health approaches. But it's sound that is our passion, because it cuts through a lot to the root, and it can be so quick. It was quite astounding. We were traveling in Scotland recently, and we were with a dear friend of ours who was instrumental in getting our album produced, about 13, 14 years ago now. And we were just outside a pub. This is the sort of thing going on here, isn't there? And we just wanted to have a picture of the three of us. And there was just this one guy outside the pub. And so David went up to him and asked him, is it possible to take our picture? And David noticed that he was really struggling to get up. And do you want to say a word for it?
Yeah, he was in a really bad sort of space and things. And I said, are you all right? And he said, no, not really. He said, I've suffered with a lot of back pain and like leg pain and stuff like that for years. And he said, I decided to climb a mountain this morning. And so literally all his body was aching completely. Why he climbed the mountain, I don't know. It must have been some sort of challenge or something. And so anyway, I said, well, we're all therapists. All of us are therapists. We could help relieve the pain for you. And so I asked B if she wanted to do something with a tuning fork, because I knew that she carries one with her and everything. Well, she wanted to go and talk to her friend, so she handed me the fork and said, well, you do it. And so they left, and they were in the pub having a nice little natter of old times. And so I'm there with the guy, and I thought, well, okay, I'll just get on with it. I explained that this tune, I don't touch you with a tuning fork, I just like wave it around you a little bit, and just tell me where the pain is. So he pointed it out and everything. And I said, so how do you feel? And he said, well, it feels like the pain's disappearing. And I said, yeah, that's look quite normal. And so he just wanted to know lots of what made you do this? And I explained the story of how I got my first like tuning fork and everything. And that's a completely astounding story as well. I mean, literally, we were opening an event in Glastonbury, and Medicine Music Festival, and I lost my voice. I had no voice at all, and B put her back out. And
So we're a right pair.
so
Good start.
both
Yeah,
of us
good
were in
start.
there. It's never happened before, and we just sort of thought we will turn up and see what happens and everything. So we've got a half-hour slot. There's 100 some people going to come and watch, and Debbie Walker comes up to us and said, she looks at me and said, "So how are you?" And I just pointed at my throat and just like mouthed, "Can't speak." So she came back with a tuning fork, and she said, "Do you mind if I fork you?" And so, with our humour, I would normally be almost doubled up with laughter, but I couldn't speak, so I couldn't do anything. And she just waved this tuning fork, and I got my voice back straight away. So she said, "How's that?" I said, "Great." So then B said, "Can you do my back?" And she did her back, and the pain was gone. So that was our introduction. I explained this to the guy, and then he said, "Well, you know, how long have you been working with sound and all sorts of questions." And I was there for half an hour with him, and he asked for my card, and then he said, "Can I send you some money?" And I said, "Well, no." And he said, "But," he said, "I feel so much better." I said, "Yeah, but it's an exchange." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I asked you if you'd take our picture." And I said, "You took the picture, didn't you?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I offered to help you with your pain." I said, "It's gone." So that's a fair deal, isn't it? And he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And so then I joined the others in the pub.
That's a beautiful story. Would you say that sound has an intelligence? It goes where it needs to go. No.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I would have to ponder on that. What I would say is that every single molecule of our bodies is a specific vibration, and everything around us is vibrating. So everything is emitting a particular sound. And literally, when you're using a tuning fork, say, you're reminding a cell what a healthy cell sounds like. And so you're using entrainment to actually sort of say, "Hello." You know, it was quite interesting when we used to do a lot of one-to-ones. We don't tend to do one-to-ones these days. It's just like there's just so many things to do. But I just wanted to illustrate this idea of intelligence, because we would say connect with someone who had a chronic disease, in some cases is labeled terminal. And when you actually tuned into the disease, you could actually connect with that and bring it through in sound. And it was like the diseased part, the bit that was literally out of tune, wished to actually be heard and to be witnessed. And when you do that, it makes the most disgusting, growly, dissonant sound. But when you do that, it's incredible. It's really clearing. And basically we will connect with it. We don't know what sounds are going to come through, because we're connecting with that cell. And it's almost like we're creating as like a conduit for this sound to come through, so that the person can actually hear, this is, this needs addressing. It's crying out for some attention here. And then afterwards, you get to a point where actually you've cleared so much that actually a pure tone emerges. And so what you're doing is all dissonant sounds can actually be brought into harmony. And this is what another thing that we do is that we bring these cells into harmony. And it's quite extraordinary work. And you were saying earlier about what do we do when we're doing a sound journey? I mean, part of it is that kind of listening. It's a sound therapy for us is about a deep, deep listening. You're listening to the people that you have, you're listening to the land, you're listening to the energies, the times. We have certain groups of percussion instruments that all have different functions, but we don't know precisely what is actually going to happen till the actual moment. So it's very edgy. We know that Himalayan bowls, for example, one of our teachers used to describe as sonic hot chocolate, because, and the bowls that we use, some people use absolutely loads of bowls, we just use 2. And the reason we use those 2 is they create a certain musical interval called the perfect fifth. And the perfect fifth promotes harmony. It makes you feel sort of like a loving hug at the start of the sound journey. And then David will start with the gongs, the bigger gongs. And the gongs are there to break up patterns, break up stuck energy. That's what gongs are absolutely brilliant at. All the metal instruments are absolutely brilliant. And you can use things like, I've already prepared, you can use tincture bells that can actually be brilliant for breaking up stuck energy, not just in people, but also in rooms and spaces and things like that. And then instruments such as rain sticks are very soothing, again, and very purifying. And then finally, you'll end up with a variety of chimes and things like that, which are very joyful. And then interspersed with that, we'll connect with the group and see which we like to sing songs. Sometimes, for example, for the forthcoming solstice, we'll consciously connect, we'll set an intent that we're connecting with the solstice energies, and we'll allow them to sing through us. We wouldn't describe it as channeling. And it's interesting, when clairvoyants have seen us do this, they say that it's really bizarre. They see both of our crown chakras really expand. And what they say, it's like you're literally opening to spirit to sing through, rather than channeling per se. So we will do that. There was also something else that oh yes. So yeah, we will connect with that, or we may use specific mantras. So for example, we can get a feeling that a lot of the group might need an extra welly in terms of physical healing. So we'll have specific mantras for that. And it's a bit like, I just got a vision of Swedish chef actually from the Muppets. But this is why we call it alchemy, because we are using different sounds. We're creating an alchemical mix, which we're setting the intent. It's for everyone who listens. It's for their highest and best, and it's to promote greater ease and grace and joy. We had one client once. This was hilarious. So she asked us if we could help her get out of an abusive relationship.
Oh God.
Find a new one. Exactly. Find a new one, get pregnant, and start her own business. I was like, oh, okay then.
One session.
In one session. All right then. Okay, well, that's a very clear intent.
Yeah.
But a good learning lesson for all of us. She manifested that within a month. And it was all of it. And it was really crazy. And then we sort of thought, okay, when we're setting an intent, we're going to put ease and grace with it. Yeah. So that you don't have to actually have too much intensity, because people sort of say, oh, I wish I could have this and I wish I could have that. I said, okay, so here it is. Like, oh my God, it's all happening now.
Yeah, it changed her life.
It did. It totally transformed her life.
That session, she had a different life after that.
Yeah.
And it logically, it didn't make any sense how that could happen, because all of the issues that she had, you wouldn't think that they would come to pass, especially so quickly. Because I mean, it's very difficult. They couldn't sell their house. They couldn't, deal with the split and everything. And then, she wasn't going to meet somebody, and then suddenly she did, and then all of these things, and then she couldn't have a business because she didn't have the money to have a business. And then somebody came to her and said, I think you should set up a business and I'll give you the money. And you know, and all that happened within the month.
It's mind blowing.
And
it's like you kind of moved her blockages on and then aligned her.
Yeah.
You allowed her to come through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to get rid of all that kind of trauma and damage and baggage. And then she steps forward in her authentic, beautiful self, and that's what she wants to do. Yeah. Very powerful.
It is very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do work with sound a bit myself, and I'd like to do more. But I remember when we were in Oliver's Castle and you were sounding one day, my knee was really hurting.
Yeah.
And I was sat there, and because I do a lot of driving, and I directed your sound to my knee. And I literally, when I'd stopped doing it, I got up, it felt better. You know,
amazing.
It was, that was the intention. The intention was to take the energy from your sound and put it in my knee, and it just healed it. It wasn't. I was actually taken aback. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that to work. So, you know, it just worked. You know,
I know.
yeah, it was beautiful. It was amazing, and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. You know, I'll send them an invoice, or I'll send them some money. By the way, you just fixed my knee. Just as a point, I went to Wells Cathedral recently.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know what you probably do, you know about this, but there was a great purge of bells, wasn't there?
Yeah,
You know about the big purge of bells, and have you and you know, personally, this is my take on it. Is I believe that churches have got beautiful energy and they can be used for whatever energy and intention you put into it.
Yeah.
But with the bells and the space, it seemed to me like a sacred space.
Yes.
It would actually heal. And so if you've got all those beautiful those choirs that come and sing, all those lovely hymns, and with the bells, those places were a place of healing. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've got loads of different thoughts. How to do this first? First, Wells Cathedral itself is quite astounding in terms of its acoustics. And I don't know if you managed to get into the octagonal.
That's where we went.
Yeah.
And that we've sung in there a few times actually, and it's just off the scale, the acoustics. And I was once in a group there singing there were 77 of us singing in there, all singing, I think it was Amen actually. It was very, very powerful indeed. So another thought I have is that Goethe said that architecture is frozen music. So what you're doing with the sounds is that you are activating the sounds within the buildings, and obviously there's been a lot of hidden knowledge around the way these buildings were put together and the extraordinary acoustics that can be affected. I mean, we also worked with John Gibson Forty, the dowser, who wrote The Interconnectedness of All Things, and noticed that on Sundays, when the bells would peal and people would sing, that the ley lines and the energy lines would more than double. So it's something about healing, I think, for people, but it's also healing the land, and it's part of an old tradition of reciprocity, where if we give our thanks to the land will look after us. So I think that's part of it. But it's interesting because again, synchronistically this week, we received an email from one of the Langton participants saying he got a message during the sound bath. There's more to the bells than meets the eye. Investigate it, because that's the bit. The chimes, certain of the chimes sound like bells, and that's the bit that really touched him profoundly. And he said it's led him on a going down the rabbit hole of bells. But it's really interesting because the official excuse has been that the bells were needed, as part of to be melted down as part of the munitions and things like that. It's interesting how other bells have come into being since those times, which are smaller, more intimate kind of bells. So maybe, you know, part of the times we're moving into is that we're using sound in a different way. But I think certainly in the past they have been used for clearing. They are absolutely brilliant clearing energy, for sure. And we do have, I don't have any to hand actually, just looking there. We have some Tibetan Nepalese bells, which are, and if you watch like, you know, Tibetan lamas, they'll have a bell and they'll have the vajra in their hands and they use it as part of their ritual. You go into Vedic priests, you know, the Brahmins, they will use bells as well. It's all about the clearing. I think there's just a general theme, you know, particularly what we do as well. It's about letting go and helping to let go of things that really don't serve you, so that you're actually vibrating and shining at your optimal level, really.
At one time, we were invited to work with a group of people, and it was they'd arranged it that we would get like about 15 to 20 minutes with one person at a time, and we worked with somebody who'd had depression for decades. And his wife
about 40 years,
40 years, and his wife went with him and said that he's never smiled. There's literally nothing to smile about in his life at all. And we played the koshi chimes to him, and it completely lifted the depression. It was gone, and his wife, and well, both of them were amazed, because they couldn't believe the difference was just minutes. That was all it took, was minutes. We did some other parts first, but they said that the thing that broke through was the chimes.
Yeah.
It's for me, light and sound are the two biggest healing modalities, really. Obviously, we have Mother Earth, but you know, sound is it's huge. It's absolutely, it's like a fundamental healing modality, and I think it's going to be. I personally think it's going to be probably the biggest of the new Earth healing modalities. Yeah. Almost certainly. I mean, I've you've got a huge wealth of knowledge about sound, but you know, my limited experience, I've heard of stories of people being sung well, you know, villages where they've not been well, and the village has come round and they've sounded and they've got people well, and you can see it. It's actually very logical, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's plenty of experiments now in the scientific world that would be able to easily prove that if you put certain frequencies through people, it will just, you know, melt away. Well, you're living proof of it. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? But it is for me, it just seems such a beautiful healing modality, and you know, it's and you're doing this like every day. It's absolutely magical. When's the book coming out? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, people keep asking us that. We've got a number of books on the go. We've actually been we're contributing authors to a number of books, but we're still waiting to do.
What I think is lovely about you guys is you embody it.
Oh.
And that is really, really powerful, isn't it? You know, you're living with that, and embodying it is so beautiful. And it's very good at having books, etc., but in what you do, it's experiential.
Yeah.
You know, you come along to one of your workshops and you experience it, and it isn't of the moment. It's a truly beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Guys, you know what? I can't believe this. I think our time is up.
Really?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I think I need to try and keep it down. But you know what? You've done it. You've given me a lovely little deep dive into some of those modalities, and it's really, really beautiful. I'd like to invite you back after the celebration and do another interview. And I'd like to give you the last words as well. So have you got any thoughts or anything you'd like to say?
Well, actually, I don't know. I could just switch on there. Let's see if this will work. Well, yeah, I do have, yeah, local. Yeah. So rather, yeah, I mean, we haven't got our proper mic.
We haven't got
here.
a proper mic set up or anything, but it's still energy is energy. It still comes through.
And so what we tend to do is we always end whatever sound event we do with this beautiful blessing, Sanskrit blessing. And it means, may all beings be free, may all beings be happy, and may our words and actions and thoughts contribute to everyone's happiness. So,
okay.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. I'm
Thank
going to leave it
you.
at that. Lots of
Thank
love
you for
to
having
you.
us.
I'll
Thank
speak to you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.